Have you ever stopped to imagine what might happen when two very different materials, yet both familiar in the everyday life of any creative and curious artisan, are combined? Silicone and paint thinner. It sounds unbelievable, strange, and even a little risky, doesn't it? Thinner or paint thinner is a liquid solvent used to dilute paint for smoother application, adjust its viscosity, and clean tools or surfaces by removing paint, glue, or grease. Ready for a fun DIY experiment? Let's mix silicone with paint thinner and see what unique effect we can create. Stick around and watch it all come to life in this video. First, grab a plastic cup and squeeze in about 50 grams of silicone glue. This will be the base for our DIY experiment before we add the thinner. But here's the key detail. These amounts are not a strict rule. Everything depends on your needs, the scale of the project you're working on, and even the type of surface you want to transform, giving you full flexibility and creative freedom. Pour in about 100 milliliters of thinner right into the cup. This will start the exciting reaction with the silicone for our DIY project. Now I need to mix these two ingredients thoroughly, and to make the process easier, I'm going to create a simple mixing tool. I'll take 3 sturdy zip ties and carefully secure each one to the tip of the drill, tightening them firmly so they stay in place. This way, when the drill spins, the zip ties will spread out and work like flexible mixing blades, helping to blend the silicone and thinner more evenly and quickly. And I quickly lock everything securely into the chuck of the electric drill, ready to perform and amaze with its efficiency. As soon as I power it on, the magic begins. The improvised blades spin, stir, and blend, transforming the texture right before my eyes. Silicone and thinner, once completely separate, now merge into a smooth, surprisingly uniform mixture. Next, I'll add paint to mix, using 2 different types. A bit of acrylic paint for rich color and some spray paint to create a unique texture and finish. You can also choose any other colors you like, depending on your purpose and the effect you want to achieve. Now I'll pour the paint into the 2 portions I've divided, letting each part take on its own unique blend and character. Next, I'll thoroughly mix each of the 2 paint portions to make sure the colors and textures are evenly blended. Now it's time to test the mixture. I'll take a small amount of each blended paint and apply it to the surface to see how the silicone thinner base reacts, revealing the texture, color, and finish we've just created. For the test, I'll use 2 different materials, a piece of raw, untreated wood, and a solid brick. These contrasting surfaces will show how the mixture behaves on both porous and rough textures. I'll stick a strip of masking tape right down the center of both the wooden piece and the brick, dividing each into 2 sections. This way, we can clearly see the difference once the mixture is brushed on. Now I'll start brushing the mixture onto one side of both the wood and the brick. Spreading it evenly to let the silicone, thinner, paint blend soak in and create its unique texture. As the brush glides over the surfaces, you can immediately notice how smoothly it coats and how the colors begin to stand out against the untreated side. I'll leave everything here and let it dry naturally, giving the mixture time to set and reveal its final texture and finish. After about 2 hours, the mixture has dried, revealing its final look and texture on both the wood and the brick. Now it's time to test its water resistance. I'll sprinkle or pour a bit of water over the coated areas to see how well the dried mixture repels moisture compared to the untreated side. As the water sprays onto the coated side of the wood, droplets beat up and roll off the surface instead of soaking in. The layer of the silicone thinner paint mixture creates a smooth, slightly glossy barrier that clearly resists moisture, while the untreated side quickly darkens as it absorbs the water on the wood. The mixture gives a slightly translucent finish, allowing the natural grain to show through while softening the color. On the uncoated side of the wood, the water quickly soaks in, darkening the surface and emphasizing the natural grain. The texture becomes slightly rough and damp, clearly showing how easily the untreated wood absorbs moisture compared to the protected side. On the coated side, any water that lands on the surface beads up and can be easily wiped or shaken off, leaving the wood dry almost instantly. The smooth, water-resistant layer prevents absorption, making cleanup quick and effortless. On the brick, the coated area shows excellent water resistance. Droplets sit on the surface without being absorbed, rolling off easily, while the untreated sections quickly darken as they soak in moisture. The silicone, thinner, paint layer creates a smooth barrier that keeps the brick dry and protected. The effect is especially noticeable on the rough texture of the brick. Even in the grooves and pores, the coated mixture prevents water from penetrating, maintaining the original color and dryness of the surface. It creates a durable, semi-glossy finish that repels moisture while highlighting the brick's natural texture, making it look clean and well protected. Now, let's move on to the second tip, using thinner. This time, we'll explore a different way to take advantage of its properties for DIY projects and surface treatments. I'll also be using thinner for next materials. And this time, I'll work with foam. First, I'll cut the foam into small pieces, making it easier to handle and treat with a thinner mixture. Next, I'll dip the foam pieces into the thinner, allowing them to fully absorb the solvent and become ready for the next step of the experiment. Then, I'll stir the foam pieces thoroughly in the thinner to ensure they're evenly saturated and fully coated. Once that's done, I'll move on to testing the treated foam to see how the thinner has affected its texture, flexibility, and surface properties. I'll take a handsaw and introduce it, showing its slightly rough surface with some stains that look like rust starting to form. This will help demonstrate how the thinner treatment works on metal with imperfections. Now I'll brush the thinner soaked foam over the surface of the handsaw, spreading it evenly so the mixture fills in the rough spots and lightly coats the stained areas. As I work, the foam helps the thinner penetrate the surface, softening grime and preparing the metal for a cleaner, more even finish. I'll apply the mixture to just one side of the saw, leaving the other side untreated, so we can compare the difference later. Additionally, when combined with the foam, the thinner mixture also acts like an adhesive. I'll use these two sections of plastic pipe to carry out the next test, observing how the thinner foam mixture interacts with smooth, non-porous surfaces. Next, I'll also test its water resistance by brushing the mixture onto cardboard and wooden strips, checking how well it repels moisture on different surfaces. After brushing on, I'll let the coated surfaces dry for a while, giving the mixture time to set and reveal its protective and water-resistant properties. Once it has dried, it's time to test and see how well the mixture performs on the cardboard and wooden strips. The water-resistant effect comes from the foam with thinner in the mixture forming a thin, flexible barrier on the surface. This barrier prevents water from seeping into pores of wood, brick, or cardboard, causing droplets to bead up and roll off instead of being absorbed. Essentially, creates a hydrophobic layer that repels moisture while maintaining the surface's texture and appearance. On wood, the thinner mixture soaks in slightly while forming a smooth, protective layer on the surface. It seals the pores, preventing water, dirt, and stains from penetrating, while enhancing the wood's natural grain and texture. The result is a durable, water-resistant finish that keeps the wood looking fresh and polished for longer. On metal surfaces, the thinner mixture forms a protective layer that adheres to rough spots, stains, or minor rust. This coating helps prevent moisture and contaminants from reaching the metal, reducing corrosion and keeping the surface cleaner and more durable over time. When used upon plastic pipes, the thinner, foam mixture creates a surprisingly strong hold. It fills small gaps between the surfaces and acts like an adhesive, keeping the pipe securely in place while maintaining some flexibility. So the joint is both sturdy and resistant to movement. In short, thinner is a versatile DIY helper. It dilutes paints, softens materials like silicone, aids in cleaning, and even enhances water resistance or adhesion when combined creatively. Try it yourself and see what surprising effect you can create in your next project. Grab your materials and start experimenting.